So today we're going to be going over the report of day 2, day 3 outlook. And as you can see, across the board, expecting a enhanced risk. And if we go ahead and take a look at the models, okay, so this is right now we have a few cells convecting in Ohio, West Virginia, and down there near Kentucky. But the main threat's going to be over here with this. If we get just right conditions, we will have a favorable severe weather outbreak for today. The timing. Severe weather is going to be focused out near Oklahoma City with potential for damaging winds, hail, and we can't rule out a brief tornado with these cells. And then farther south, we have cells that form just to the north of the border. And I am expecting to see an isolated damaging wind threat, some hail, and maybe an isolated tornado. And we do see a lot of those storms. They're that one in Kentucky, Ohio right now, just move off the shore into Delaware. Those would not be much of a threat, maybe a hail and isolated damaging wind threat. And we go later into the future. By tomorrow morning, the line really fizzles out there as it gets into a very stable environment. So I won't expect any severe weather out of this tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow morning we will see some cells form out near Topeka, Kansas, but those won't be maybe hail producers. But I think the main threat for tomorrow is gonna be isolated. We have an elevated tornado threat, which is a 10% across Chicago. And we really need to be concerned about tomorrow's threat because we know it's near a big city, but this is a hatch, and we could see EF2 plus EF0 to EF2 tornadoes tomorrow. And if we go ahead to the wind outlook, that is elevated to from parts of Michigan down into Illinois. And the hail outlook overall is not really that bad. We will see some decent sized hail tomorrow. And then if we go ahead and go to day 3, I'm expecting another elevated day of severe weather, especially out in Iowa and in Missouri. Now, what I'm seeing with day 3's outlook is that it's a little bit going to be on the, I don't know if there's going to be a tornado threat or if there's going to be a isolated tornado outbreak and severe weather outbreak, but I'm relatively concerned about today and tomorrow. Day 3, we'll have to see what the tornado threat brings to with this. And if we dive deeper right now into the current radar, we're seeing some storms right now currently in the western part of Virginia and parts of Kentucky. Those storms are capable of producing hail and an isolated damaging wind threat. The tornado threat is low, but the tornado threat is definitely still there. So keep your alerts on out there, and some storms firing in Ohio. Those are really some are severe. Out near Pittsburgh, though, we have to watch this cell head towards Woodsfield. As you can see, a little hook is popping out. So if you're kind of like and flooding is also going to be another concern today and tomorrow. You can see there's some convection out there already in Missouri, some cells popping up. And if these can get into a favorable environment after all that convection that came through right there, I think we could see an isolated severe weather outbreak. Do I think that's going to happen? No, but there's still a very low chance that it could. So watch these areas there. Stay safe. I don't want anyone getting caught up in these tornadoes. And if you're out in Indiana, Illinois, you got a wind advisory there. And what's interesting is we're gonna be seeing a winter storm with all this. You heard it right. A winter storm is gonna be impacting the northern U.S. in northern Minnesota, kind of out there towards Minneapolis point north. I think north of Minneapolis is where we get the heavier snow totals. Now, there's going to be an ice storm as well in Wisconsin, so if you're traveling out there, you need to take careful of caution. Do not drive on roads that are ice. I recommend staying away from those icy roads. And then that winter storm, as we get into tomorrow morning, gets a little bit stronger across the board with some heavier snow there just near Minneapolis, as Minneapolis gets some freezing rain with an ice storm. An ice storm is expected, as we can see with these models. The red is the ice, freezing rain, and the pink is the sleet. And we have a lot of that snow that will be falling there in the northern U.S. going up into Canada. And then we'll have another system behind that in the Rocky Mountains that'll produce heavy snow totals. I'm expecting a couple of feet with this right here. So we'll keep an eye on that. And I think tomorrow morning, again, we could see maybe some cells pop off at Fort Wayne, but those will not be severe. I think maybe a rumble of thunder, lightning, but that's all that's going to happen with that. Then if we go to the northeast, we'll have some rain in the morning, and then it will clear up as it gets later in the day. Now, one thing I'm concerned about with tomorrow's, we had all that convection in the morning. And I don't know exactly if we're going to get clouds, so I think that if we don't get any clouds, that would decrease the storm threat. And we won't see as much of a storm threat, but still could see severe storms, could see some isolated damaging winds and hail, maybe even a low chance of a tornado. But this morning convection really here is ruining kind of all this we have for tomorrow, because we get all of this rain, and I think we'll see maybe a thunderstorm try to pop off in Illinois tomorrow morning. Nothing's on the severe side of things, but it is definitely it's definitely, you need to keep away. And overall, I think the United States is really having multiple winter storms across the board. We could be seeing heavy snow totals there in Minneapolis, and also up into Canada. So if you're anywhere in Minnesota or Wisconsin, you guys are going to get hit by an ice and snowstorm, so take it safe. And also in New York, we are having a flooding issue. Ever since yesterday's severe weather outbreak, most of us had a lot of rain that fell in the area, and that's what's giving us these flood warnings and flood watch across parts of central and western New York. So some counties are still under this flood watch. Some counties have been allowed to expire. But still, over Lake Erie, we have some freezing rain north of Erie there. That's not going to be really a concern. I think it's going to be a slightly low chance that we see this. But if I go to the radar right now, we are showing freezing rain near Erie, PA, and parts of Dunkirk, New York. Now, it's really going to, this will all taper out by hopefully tomorrow, because I don't really think it's about 2 o'clock. I don't really know that it's gonna, move out until later tonight, into tomorrow, way early tomorrow morning. So just stay prepared. Watch those roads. They could be icy at some times. Down in Ohio, parts of Kentucky, and parts of West Virginia. As I said, we are having a tornado risk right now. Isolated damaging wind risk and hail. And what I think the what the NWS thinks the peak tornado intensity for this is gonna be 85 to 115 miles per hour, and this expires in 16 minutes. Do I think we'll see a tornado within those next 16 minutes? No, but it's still a chance we could see a rotation with these storms as they move east. But the more they move east, the more they get into a very stable environment, and then they'll eventually die out. So I think the threat is really over here for Ohio after these storms really move through. The one thing I think the severe thunderstorm watch here will be expired soon because I don't see maybe we could see some severe weather. Uh, yeah, I mean, it all comes down to you know daylight heating and stuff. And we're already seeing convection here out in Missouri. You can see by Springfield, we have some cells popping off. And this will likely turn into this is likely the Kickstarter of our line of severe weather. And we could see an isolated damaging wind threat. And we could see a lot of hail and maybe a tornado or two can't be ruled out with this environment. Tomorrow, I think it's going to be more of the best environment for tornadoes, especially because there's more instability and there's not a lot of morning convection. And the sun will probably peak out at times. I'm just saying. But for tomorrow, it's going to be more of an elevated tornado risk than today. I think if we can get a discrete cell to pop off tomorrow in Illinois or parts of Iowa, we could see a strong tornado or two if it stays discrete and doesn't get caught up in any other storms. But if you are, I think we could see maybe a line form tomorrow. That's probably going to be the best case scenario. But again, we could get discrete storms in front of the line in Illinois, and we could see a brief, strong tornado touchdown. And that's all coming down to the wind shear. Now I want to take a quick look at the tornado parameter. It's really gonna. I think if we can at least see maybe a elevated as we go into a couple hours. You can see that tornado risk really starts to expand across. And then we see a more elevated tornado risk in parts of northern Oklahoma into Kansas. And by that time, yes, it's still a very elevated tornado chance. And if we just see a discrete supercell pop off, I think it should have the chance to produce a strong tornado. And then that threat will diminish a few hours later, and it's a very low chance for tornadoes by then. But still, keep an eye to the sky because you could still get a brief spin-up tornado there. And then, by tomorrow morning, we're going to see maybe a little tornado threat there. Hope you guys enjoyed this forecast. Bye.